long, long time ago,
Shake hands now, come out boxing.
a tradition began. A tradition that would span generations of legends. Night after night after night of unforgettable battles.
Vicious body shots by Getty. How do you like it?
Every one of them linked by one common thread more than any other.
And just like that, the champion struggles to stay on his feet.
A smashing was helpless against the ropes. And a right hand from Barrera. And now Morales is badly hurt. This is called getting your money's worth.
The willingness of remarkable athletes to step into a boxing ring and reveal their courage, their willpower, their willingness to risk it all.
Unbelievable! Richard Steele stopped the fight with fewer than 5 seconds to go.
In the purest form of athletic competition ever conceived.
It happened! It happened! What an awesome show! What a great, great fight! It's over!
Tonight, after 45 years, it's the final scheduled HBO Boxing telecast.
That's as good as it ever gets, folks.
The fights will go on. The fighters will go on.
And that's that!
But our memories will endure of what we've been so lucky to share with them.
Thank you very,
so
very much.
Thank you.
And congratulations,
Thank you. It's an honor.
Cecilia Brykus. All right. So, that was it. That's the end of the last boxing match to have appeared on HBO. And now it's time for the three of us, Max Kellerman, Roy Jones, and myself, to say our final farewell on this broadcast. And Roy, you go first.
Well, I just want to say, thank you, Jim, to you and Max. Y'all have been nothing but brothers and a family to me. Y'all have been the best two people that I ever could have shared my broadcast career with, and I look forward to seeing something of you guys in the future. I want to say thank you to HBO for all that they've done for me, for my boxing career, for my commentary career. My boxing career was born, bred, raised, brewed right here on HBO. No other real network besides HBO once I got established to who Roy Jones was. My commentary career started 23 years ago and constantly grew right here on HBO as well. I came from being a boy to a man as a commentator as well as a fighter. So I just want to say thank you to everybody involved in HBO, everybody who gave me the opportunities, all the fighters that came and participated with me inside the ring as I shocked the world on HBO. And last but not least, I do want to say thank God for finding me the angel by the name of Artie Curry. So thank you everybody at HBO. God bless y'all.
I'm going to be reading my closing statement. Roy Jones remains one of the greatest extemporaneous speakers I have ever worked with in 44 years of broadcasting. Max?
From the time I started watching boxing as a kid, I was always drawn to this place because of the storytelling, the honesty and forthrightness of those broadcasts were unparalleled. That ethos has been championed by the highest reaches of the executive offices of this network down through every single person working here in the arena to bring you these fights. It has changed sports television. I will miss all the very special people in our HBO family, especially my on-air brothers, Jim Lampley, the best who ever did it, Roy Jones, the best I've ever seen with my own eyes, and the late, great Emmanuel Stewart, one of boxing's greatest ever trainers and personalities. That is who you work with here. It has been my profound privilege.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Max. Thank you to both of my two eternal brothers. Never forget anything about this. I go last. It only stands to reason that when an organization does something like this for this long a period of time, it gradually becomes a family, and this is no exception. I'd be remiss in offering tribute if I failed to identify the seminal figures who were here from the beginning, so all of you, indulge me, indulge us, please, at this moment. Barry Tompkins, who capably hosted this telecast for 15 years before I showed up, and who is still calling fights at a high level to this day. Bob Papa, who for several years hosted Boxing After Dark. Ross Greenberg, who produced this telecast for decades at the beginning before he graduated to the role of arranging the fights. Rick Bernstein, who succeeded Ross as executive producer. Seth Abraham, Lou DiBella, and Ken Hirschman, who all, at one time or another, occupied the executive role prior to the current regime. Dave Harmon, who has capably produced for the past dozen years, along with Thomas Odelfelt and Jonathan Crystal. Mark Payton, who for decades defined the art of directing boxing television, and Jonathan Evans, who so capably succeeded him. Larry Merchant, who defined the art of being Larry Merchant. Ray Leonard, George Foreman, Lennox Lewis, Andre Ward, Bernard Hopkins, and Gil Clancy, who all sat in Roy Jones's chair at one time or another. And 4 names who have already exited this life, but whose very mention within our family still elicit tears. A handheld cameraman named Gordy Sager, an audio man, excuse me, named Paul Hogat. The great Emmanuel Stewart, whom both Roy and Max have already mentioned, still our soulful conscience here, and Artie Curry, our invisible link to the lives of the fighters. There are dozens of other names which belong here, but time now intervenes. And with that said, at the end of the day, this family was also a business. And every business has an organic beginning and a natural, inevitable end. Here at HBO Boxing, the end has come. We thank you for watching. We urge you to turn elsewhere to continue your support of this purest and most human of all competitive sports. And most of all, we thank the people who poured forth their bodies and their souls to write our 45-year history in the ring. The fighters, they are uniquely precious, and the life lessons they provided for us are timeless and indispensable. And here now, for your memories, is the indelible evidence.
Boxing is uniquely simple and direct. Its fundamental realities haven't changed since 1891. 2 human beings put padded gloves on their hands and they fight for their livelihoods. Sometimes for their lives. And for the past 45 years, there's been something else about boxing that was likewise unchanged. So many of the best fighters and biggest fights have always been here on HBO. Boxing on HBO began with the stuff of legend. George Foreman and Joe Frazier in a delayed telecast in January 1973.
Frazier has never taken this kind of punishment.
1 year later, Foreman met Muhammad Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle. And then, the next year, Ali and Frazier in the Thriller in Manila.
I think it's gonna be over.
3 of the most iconic bouts in heavyweight history, and just the beginning of all the history that would unfold on HBO.
You're blowing it now, son. You're blowing it. You gotta take it away from him, okay?
And right now, Thomas Hearns is an open book for Ray Leonard.
In the 1980s, a brace of charismatic superstars.
There has been no boxing at all, just fighting here.
This is still the first round. Right hand sends Hearns. He doesn't know where he is. Hacker goes in for the kill now.
He's gone.
He's down, and he may be out. Crowd collectively on its feet. How do you like it? How do you like it?
The ferocity of their confrontations made them immortals, and others in their time followed suit.
And Cootie took a good right hand from Holmes. He staggers in his back. And Arguello's in trouble. Arguello in big trouble against the ropes. Playing a smashing right hand. Arguello's helpless against the ropes. Arguello's hands at his side. It's over.
And then, a bolt of lightning that electrified the entire sports world.
Mike Tyson.
And Burbank is down. It's over. That's all. And we have
a kid from Brooklyn who became the baddest man on the planet.
Serious trouble, and down he goes. And down goes Holmes, and that's going to be it. There's a left hand. He's down again. It's over. It's all over.
These fellas, how dare them challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills? They're just as good as dead.
And he's down again and in serious trouble. It's all over.
Then in a Shakespearean fall, halfway around the world, he was toppled to the canvas.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
It's over. It's over.
Mike Tyson has been knocked out. Let's go ahead and call it the biggest upset in the history of heavyweight championship fights.
It was just one reminder that in boxing, your whole world can crumble in fewer than 10 seconds.
Right hand with Rockman right next to me.
A sensational one-punch knockout.
The 90s ushered in a new heavyweight era.
Stuns him with an uppercut, and just like that, the champion struggles to stay on his feet. What a heart by Holyfield. He's going to stay on his feet. He's hanging in there. Look at Holyfield. What a warrior. Reversing the tide of the battle. The champion now has Bo wobbling. Holyfield in serious trouble now, and he's going to go down.
They were fighting for boxing's most coveted prize, and they could win it with just one punch.
Down goes Moore on a right hand. It happened. It happened.
Knocks him down with a thunderbolt to the right hand.
We got a brand new heavyweight champion, and he's from the United States. Boom! Will Rockman get up, or have the tables been turned? It's over. Lennox Lewis got revenge.
And then there were the two men who fought more on HBO than anyone else.
He looks like the Golden Boy, but he's got some iron and lead in those gloves.
Golden Boy!
One of the most popular personalities ever to put on gloves.
This would be the most satisfying moment of Oscar De La Hoya's career if he could make Fernando Vargas eat his words. If he could knock him out, and he does.
And the fistic genius, whose virtuoso skills both dazzled and destroyed his opponents.
Whoa! Right to the body, down. Unheard of. What a performance now by Jones. Now the combinations begin to flow. Now Roy Jones becomes RJ.
The undisputed, pound for pound, greatest and going down.
And there were many other masters of the craft.
Hopkins imposing his will and his skill.
Warriors of all sizes and origins.
Suddenly Morales takes over the fight with his right hand. And a right hand from Barrera. And now Morales is badly hurt. Oh, look at that combination. Just imagine if you bought a ticket. Vicious body shots by Getty. Ward nods as if to say, come on, come on, come on, let's fight.
You dream of fights like this, but this is even more than you could dream of.
As a new century took shape, new stars emerged. The biggest, an anti-hero, whose unparalleled gifts made winning look too easy.
Brilliant, clean, hard shots for Pretty Boy Floyd.
What a performance by Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather's skill level is at this moment unique. Never has it been more clear who's the world's #1 pound-for-pound fighter.
And a comic book hero out of nowhere, who ascended as a global icon through fantastic feats of speed and power.
A superstar emerges. This is why we use the word sensation. Manny Pacquiao is a storm. Manny Pacquiao is annihilating Oscar De La Hoya.
We thought Manny Pacquiao was great. He's better than we thought.
Every one of them had a story to tell, and it was our privilege to articulate just how improbable, how unusual, how fascinating those stories were before they stepped into the ring.
Just as hard as you work in the gym, there's people working that hard to separate you from your money.
I'll make it rain all day long.
Then the bell rang, and their feats of audacious desire were sewn into the tapestry of boxing's historic narrative.
punishment has accumulated to the point where Cotto has nothing left.
That is a modern boxing classic.
Body shots and a left hook upstairs from Cotto and another left hook. He's fighting a 4 different fight now. It's over. It's over and revenge is sweet. That's another knockdown. He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up, Jim. A sensational right hand knockout by a bloodied Juan Manuel Marquez.
And somebody in a parachute has just landed on the edge of the ring. The fight has been brought to a halt. Well, this guy is going to wind up in the Slammer in Vegas tonight, and with doggone good reason.
Of course, the sublime can only be appreciated in contrast to the ridiculous. There were some moments that boxing's chronicle might have preferred to erase.
Now there's a fight in the ring that's been started by some of Bo's handlers, and somebody's going to get hurt in there. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Don't do it, son. Don't do
There's
that.
danger all over the place. This ring has been stormed by thugs and hooligans.
If he gets up, he probably wins the fight. I can't believe it.
Unbelievable! Richard Steele stopped the fight with fewer than 5 seconds to go.
Oliver McCall, he's near tears now. He doesn't really want to fight. He's crying in his corner. I've never seen anything like this. He's overwhelmed.
All along with our cameras and microphones, we hope we added to the show in indelible ways as well.
I landed 120 more fucking punches, man.
Give me that about him. The one I mixed.
To the judges, the referees, the promoters, the kiss where the sun don't shine. And since we're on HBO, that's my big black behind.
You got any excuses tonight, Roy?
Shino, I gotta stop. Your son's gonna die, man.
Cover your left eye.
All right.
Cover your left eye or it's over. How many fingers? Guy said cover. How many fingers? Now.
We only got 3, baby. Yeah. Come on, baby.
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
A wise man once called it the theater of the unexpected, and the description stuck because of everything that was revealed.
That is a flat-out knockout.
This is a picture that doesn't need any captions.
The fearlessness of the fighters,
What a statement.
their capacity for the seemingly impossible,
Unbelievable.
the humanity amid such brutality.
There's nowhere else in sport you'll find greater passion, greater intensity, greater courage, greater commitment, greater sheer guts. This is boxing at its best.
For more than 45 years, the understanding was simple. If you wanted to watch boxing's most legendary nights, you turned the channel to HBO.
That's as good as it ever gets, folks. Nobody is going to ask for their money back.
But now we join you on your side of that screen, continuing to admire the courage and conviction, the brilliance and bravado of the best fighters ever to step into the ring. We'll never stop marveling at the lessons we learned from the simplest of sports. Forever grateful for the thrills we shared in a world where the athletes bare their souls for all to see.
Hopkins is doing push-ups in the ring to try to embarrass his younger opponent.
he was too fast. Falcon was too fast. I thought Freddie was in there fucking hitting me too. So, you know.
But the fight, I was winning this fight.
He was robbed. My winner.
Excuse me, folks. I'm not used to using any strong arm tactics. Boxing is the theater of the unexpected, and when you least expect it, we had the unexpected.
Body shot, left hook upstairs, right hand. David Fields is going to stop it.
That is one of the most grotesque things I've ever seen on a prize fighter.
That gruesome ear injury, probably the worst one I've ever seen.
Do I look knocked out? Do I look like I'm wobbled?
Well, you only have to be knocked out for 10 seconds.
I wasn't knocked out. I wasn't knocked down.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, he just hit my tear. Oh, Tony. Oh.